What is the explanation for the Salish Sea feet mystery? That's the story we're going to examine today. When human feet started washing ashore on Canada's west coast, many thought a serial killer was responsible. How else to explain where all these feet were coming from? On a summer's day in 2007, a father took his daughter on a Salish sea boat trip from Washington State up to Canada's Georgia Strait. They were cruising past Jedediah Island when they came across a shoe floating in the water. Curious, the girl took a look inside and found a sock. When she looked further, she made a shocking discovery. What remained of the owner's foot was still inside. It was a right foot, size 12, preserved inside a blue and white campus running shoe, made and distributed largely in India in 2003. The mystery was compounded by a few weeks later when a second size 12 was discovered on nearby Gabriola Island, also inside a running shoe. It was also a right foot, but the foot did not belong to the same individual, and the feet kept coming. By the end of 2008, 4 more had been discovered in the region and 1 across the border in the U.S. Of these 7 feet, there were 2 pairs, one of which belonged to a woman. The rest of the feet had come from men. Between 2007 and 2016, at least 13 human feet have been found in the region. When the first few were discovered, authorities thought they might be facing a serial killer with a foot fetish or a running joke being carried out by medical students. However, it soon became apparent that the feet had not been cut off in a violent attack or amputated by professionals. They had naturally separated from the rest of the body after being at sea. Forensics experts are able to tell by looking at the end of the bone whether it is disarticulated naturally or whether a force or injury had been applied to it. Other than the general area they were found in, the one thing the feet all had in common was the type of footwear they had on: sneakers and running shoes. Many of the shoes were no longer in production or were only available in certain countries, which helped the police to narrow down the potential origin of the owner, as well as the date they were dyed. The athletic footwear, which many thought was the link to a killer's identity, someone picking off runners out in the wild, was actually the reason these feet were found in the first place. Every year, thousands of people die at sea. Almost immediately, those bodies are broken down by the ocean's scavengers over a period as short as a few days or to as much as a few months. But a foot encased in a sock and a shoe is better protected from the water and the sea, the life that sees it as dinner. The tissue just wasn't being eaten. In some cases, the feet had spanonified, a chemical reaction that transfers the fatty tissue into a soap. Once this has happened, the tissue is not enticing to any scavengers. Experts believe the uptick of foot discoveries from 2007 is to do with the materials and construction of athletic footwear in more recent years. Sports shoes are now made using high-tech foam with lots of air pockets and lightness that makes them great for athletes. Also turns them into flotation devices when they're in the water. British Columbia is not the only part of the world where solitary feet are washed up, but the high number of incidences there have been attributed to the tide and current patterns, and to the fact that media attention surrounding the story makes each walkers more vigilant in spotting them. As feet have continued to surface over the years, conspiracy theories have pointed to natural disasters, drug gangs, aliens, and human traffickers as the cause. But using DNA profiling, police have been able to identify 6 people, some of whom have been missing or presumed dead for many years. Once these individuals were identified, it became much more apparent that these were not murder victims or alien abductees, but people who have died either by suicide or by accident, for example, in a coastal storm. As of now, it's still considered to be a very big mystery as to where the bodies are, if they are in the ocean, or if what really did happen to them.